when you are setting the National Infrastructure Fund bill into law, and we know some of the proceeds from this IPO will go to support the National Infrastructure Fund. And also we would love to hear from you what sort of request you would make of the capital markets to support the national infrastructure agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it is correct, just to buttress what Lawrence was saying, that in restructuring our economy, we are not only looking at what we can do with privatization. We are looking at the whole exercise of making government efficient. And the reform process is underway. He has mentioned 3 spaces. The sugar sector was in chaos. You know, we were spending public money to pay farmers, sugarcane farmers. We were spending public money to pay workers of sugarcane companies. A completely ridiculous thing to do. Yet, it was what we are doing. We spent 5 billion shillings to give money to sugarcane companies. Because of the reform we have done in that sector, very difficult. In fact, many Kenyans remember me in Kakamega telling somebody, mambo ni matatu. And it was because the situation was so unreasonable, you know, that you couldn't even understand what was going on. What is the situation today? The situation today is that we no longer pay sugarcane farmers. They are paid by the factories. We no longer pay workers of sugarcane companies. The sugarcane companies pay. Farmers are paid every 7 days. It used to take 6 months to 1 year. The even better news is that those companies that have never paid taxes, today we are raising 1.5 billion from sugar companies into the tax kitty. So we have moved from paying, using public resources to pay, to getting public taxes into our kitty. Simple transformation. We're doing the same with river tax. And yesterday, we had a bigger conversation on KCC. We have spent 7 billion shillings on KCC in the last 3 years. And I have made the decision that it's not going to happen again. We're going to reform Kenya Cooperative Creameries. We're going to make farmers own the factories, cooperatives to own the factories, and we are going to carry out the same transformation in that space. And it is the reason why you see the changes in our economy that are there. It is not by accident that our exchange rate is stable. It is not by accident that inflation is low. It is not by accident that we have a bigger kitty of foreign exchange reserves. It is deliberate actions that we have done. And it is the reason why, even as we divest, and you have asked Kibet a question as to what is the horizon, what's the runway. I want to tell you, we will be back. And it's going to be soon. I don't know when to say that soon is. And it is because we have a lot of value locked up in mature public assets. Take, for example, Kenya Pipeline. Faith, the chair here, said over the last 5 years, they've given us 24 billion, which is correct. On average, the mathematicians here, 25 billion in 5 years is on average about 5 billion a year, right? So this company, worth so much money, is giving us only 5 billion shillings a year. Look at the value we have unlocked. 65% of the company, we now have 100 billion. This 100 billion, if we were to wait for Kenya Pipeline to give us dividends, how long would it take for us to give us 100 billion? 20 years. But with this 100 billion which we have today, we will build the airport, we will generate another maybe 1,000, 2,000 megawatts of energy, we will build about 12 dams, and we will build many kilometers of roads across Kenya. If you count what that would amount in 20 years, it would be 100 times the value we would get from dividends. So there is a lot of value locked up in some of these companies, and we have to use innovative ways of how to unlock this value. I remember we were here on the Lindsay product that helped us to build Talanta. We took a portion of the sports fund. And I saw some small argument by some people there. Oh, you know, this government, they have pledged sports fund money for 15 years to build Talanta Stadium. Yes, we have. That's correct. But the question I asked them, the same sports fund has been there for 20 years. What has it achieved in 20 years? Something that we can see. Nothing. At least for the next 15 years, we will have Talanta Center, Talanta Stadium. It is a signature project. It is a project that next year will give us the opportunity to host AFCON. It's going to make money going into the future. In the past, that sports fund was used to build Cabro here, a gate there, I don't know, something there, and most of it was actually misappropriated. At least we now have the discipline to pay for Talanta. This is the kind of thinking, this is the kind of innovation that our country so seriously desires. And therefore, as I sit here this morning, I am very proud of the achievements we have achieved together. I am very happy that we have pushed this securities exchange. The numbers here are 3 times, okay, maybe 2.5 times what the numbers were 3 years ago. True or not true? So that's the kind of thing that changes the country. What is transformation? Transformation doesn't happen. It is made to happen. This lady just said the way to predict the future is to create it. We must create the future ourselves with our own innovation, with our own creativity, with our own ideas. And that's why I sit here this morning very confident about the future of Kenya. If we move at the pace at which we are moving, we will change this country in our lifetime. The numbers speak for themselves. And therefore, the runway going into the future, we will continue to reform our space. Apart from what we are doing in all the other areas, I signed the government-owned enterprises law that now sets the standard for commercial government-owned entities like Kenya Ports Authority, like Kenya Airways, Kenya Airports Authority, like KenGen, and all the others, sets the benchmark for them. Going forward, boards of directors will be appointed in a competitive manner. People who have served as politicians like myself, they have to have a cool-off period before they can come there. What we've done in the past is, you know, somebody fails in the election, the next day we nominate them to be a board member in Kenya Pipeline. They arrive there, the first thing they're looking for is, oh, you know, I've come from an election. Where do I find some money? Where is the contract? Where is the... And we mess up the whole space. That is going to be a thing of the past. And I am saying so with a lot of respect to politicians like myself, right? me being one of them. We have to seriously consider how to move the country forward. It is the reason why I signed the conflict of interest bill, to make sure that those of us who have political power or influence do not interfere with the prudent management of the affairs of our country. These are steps that, and by the way, I had a lot of difficulty persuading members of parliament to pass the conflict of interest bill, But finally we had a candid conversation and we said, yes, there are sacrifices we need to make to get the country moving. So thank you very much. I don't want to give you a long lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. I think this is the sort of lectures we like. So thank you. Thank you. What we've taken there is KPC is not the climax. It's just that we are in the beginning of a robust pipeline of opportunities. The best way to build the future, to predict the future, is to build it yourself. Key takeaway for us there. Thank you, Your Excellency, for accepting to be in the panel and for the very authentic and insightful discussion that you've shared with us. Thank you, DG Kibet, for sharing with us the three things that are driving your operations at the National Treasury. And thank you, Rina, also for sharing with us.